now would be to just give an overview about the ocular surface diseases. Vinay has already spoken about what is ocular surface. Now, whenever there are a series of pathological events which actually can lead to disturbance and lead to various kinds of ocular surface diseases, in that there is a progressive failure of the tear film, which in turn causes subclinical inflammation and the epithelium starts undergoing changes. This is at the heart of most of the ocular surface diseases. Now, when we talk about the ocular surface failure, it is primarily of two kinds, and this is something we decide on the basis of the resultant epithelial phenotype. In dry eye related disorders, there is a change of the epithelium from non-keratinized to keratinized, which we also call as Combs metaplasia. And the second group of failure, the ocular surface failure disorders, include those diseases where there is a replacement of normal corneal epithelium with the invaded conjunctival epithelium, or what we also call as limbal stem cell deficiency. Now, dry eye, of course, is one of the most common causes of the ocular surface failure. We all know what it is. Just let's look at the various mechanisms which lead to it. In dry eye, there could be a decreased secretion, there could be delayed tear clearance, or altered tear composition. Now, all of these things can lead to an unstable tear film, which in turn leads to ocular surface inflammation, and that is what is at the heart of the dry eye disorders. One of the commonest causes of dry eye in India is the meibomian gland dysfunction, which we all know is a disease which mostly affects older individuals and is fairly common in Asians. Now, when we talk about meibomian gland disorder, then the various pathogenic mechanisms work to cause meibomian gland dysfunction, and one of the commonest key events in meibomian gland dysfunction is the hyperkeratinization of the terminal duct lining, which in turn causes obstruction of these glands and is also responsible for not just the altered secretion but also reduced secretion, and in turn causes surface inflammation and creates a vicious cycle, which also then in further stages causes aqueous tear deficiency. Now, with the meibomian gland dysfunction workshop, numerous the grading system has been given, which has actually made the management of meibomian gland dysfunction very easy. Now, this grading is based on the amount of secretion, that is how many glands we can get the secretion from, what is the consistency of these secretions, what is the symptomatology of the patient, if there is any corneal staining. Based on that, we divide the disease into various stages, and then we can treat accordingly. Now, there are other fairly common causes of tear film disorders, such as conjunctivochalasis. Again, this is one of those causes which is a little underdiagnosed as a cause of ocular surface disorder. Now, conjunctivochalasis, besides the fact that it disrupts the normal tear meniscus, it can also cause delayed tear clearance, which in turn causes surface inflammation. SLK, or superior limbic keratoconjunctivitis, is a blink-related microtrauma. It's a group of disorders. Now, even SLK is something which can be associated with dry eye and can also lead to surface inflammation and contribute to the localized ocular surface failure. Now, vernal keratoconjunctivitis or other allergic group of disorders, they are somewhere in between the dry eye related disorders and the limbal stem cell deficiency, and they can progress from one stage to another. Now, VKC, of course, has various forms such as tarsal, limbal, and the mixed forms, which is more common in Indians. VKC in around 5% of patients can actually progress through various other stages such as corneal involvement in terms of shield ulcer, etc., and leading to astigmatism and also keratoconus in some cases. But what is it I want to focus on is VKC leading to limbal stem cell deficiency, which can happen in around 0.2% of cases, as was studied at LVP as well. Now, the reason why VKC can also lead to limbal stem cell deficiency is because of two mechanisms. One is that there is a poor stromal support, which can cause chronic limbal inflammation and cause damage to limbal stem cells. Secondly, there is a direct damage to stem cells due to the toxic products which are released in this allergy. And per se, limbal stem cell deficiency, as we all understand, is a group of disorders where there is a conjunctivalization of cornea. There is neovascularization, chronic inflammation of the surface, and frequent epithelial defects. Again, all these disorders which cause limbal stem cell deficiency can either cause direct damage to the stem cells, or they can cause a poor stromal support which lead to damage to the limbal stem cells. When it comes to the management options, it depends on whether it is unilateral, bilateral, how severe it is, and if it is visually significant, then we can choose one of these treatment modalities, which will be spoken about later during the talks. When we are treating patients with limbal stem cell deficiency by transplantation, we always make sure that surface at least gets a little bit more stable in terms of the lid abnormalities, ocular surface inflammation, dry eye, etc. And we also like to screen the patient to rule out any systemic condition whereby we cannot give immunosuppression if required to the patient. And these are some of the examples where when the ocular surface there is a failure, which is again a mixed kind of failure, they can be managed with limbal stem cell transplantation and later on with cornea transplantation. So this is how basically, to conclude this talk, ocular surface as a whole and its individual components are in highly dynamic state. When adaptive responses are not able to cope with the aggression, a persistent dysfunction may develop. The process is not even, characterized by cycles of worsening and improvement. Therapeutic approach to this condition cannot be unique and stable all along. I thank you all for your patient hearing.